we're going to be cooking in the kitchen with who? Me, Renee. So today's episode, we are going to be cooking with butternut squash. We're going to be cooking with a patty pan squash and my first parsnips out of my garden. There was 3 more, but they weren't big enough, so I'm going to try this one because I've always been excited about wanting to try a parsnip and to grow my own parsnip. I'm so excited because I can't wait to taste this. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be roasting these vegetables, and I found this recipe on Pinterest, so we're going to see what we're going to do and see how this recipe comes out. It's just a basic roasting vegetables. So you're going to need some garlic powder. You're going to need some thyme. You're going to need some pepper. You're going to need some oregano leaves, some olive oil, and some parchment paper. And of course, you're going to need a tool to cut through this butternut squash. And you're also going to need a spoon in order to scoop out the seeds of the butternut squash. You're going to need a bowl. And on my stove, you're going to see that I have a baking sheet lined with wax paper, or you can use parchment paper. And I'm preheating my oven to 425. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is that I have already cut my butternut squash in half. It was like this. And I peeled it. I took the seeds out because I'm going to dice this one up, and I'm going to mix it with my patty pan and my parsnip. And the other half, I'm going to take the seeds out, and I am going to cook it, and I'm going to have this one with some brown sugar. Woohoo! So we're going to be doing this butternut squash 2 ways. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to get all of my vegetables chopped up, and then I'm going to put them in this bowl. Then we're going to coat it with some olive oil, throw in our seasonings, mix it all together, put it on that baking sheet, and then on the butternut squash, I'm going to rub this baby down with some olive oil, take the seeds out, and then I'm going to poke it. So you give it, you know, when you poke it, it'll give it time for the olive oil and stuff to get into the slits, and also the steam and all that. It's going to just make this butternut squash so juicy and delectable. And then I'm going to put some brown sugar on it and some butter, child, and I'm going to probably put some cinnamon sugar on here as well. So this is going to be amazing. And then we're going to serve this with a pork chop. I already cooked some pre-thin pork chops. So we're going to have vegetables, pork chops, and I may have a salad on the side. But these vegetables and my pork chop may be all that I need. All right, guys, let's start chopping up this butternut squash. I've never chopped up a patty pan before, but I did wash it really good. I cut off the stem, and I heard that you can eat the skin of the patty pan, so I'm just going to dice it. If there's any seeds in here, I'll take the seeds out, and then once I dice it, I'm going to put it in this bowl. So let's start dicing, and I'm so excited about my parsnip. Woohoo! That's the best thing about this whole dish, is that parsnip. So let me angle the camera down so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Let's cut up this butternut squash. This is the one I peeled. We're just gonna cut this up. Cut it in cubes. You gotta be careful when you're messing with these big knives and stuff. You gotta be extra careful. So I'm just gonna cube this up. Smells good. And I grew this butternut squash. That's what makes it the best. 'Cause I grew this myself. You know, I'm always going to have butternut squash, and that's what they look like. So I'm just going to stick it in this bowl that I have over here, and I'm just going to cube up the rest. Alright, so I'm going to finish cubing this up, and I'll come back when it's time for the patty pan. Guys, so I have the butternut squash all cut up. Now let's cut into this patty pan. First time cutting the patty pan, so I don't know what to expect. Oh, okay. You just cut them into chunks. Move this out the way. This tastes good. I'm always going to grow patty pan in my garden. It's going to be a beautiful presentation. They're so good. I don't think I've ever seen a patty pan in the grocery store. Next time I go into the grocery store, I'm going to look and see if I see a patty pan squash. Just to see. Alright, let's cut this big bad boy one open. This one has some seeds in it, so I'll take the seeds out of here. We ain't eating the ones with the seeds. No seeds. Keep those to grow for next season. This one with the seeds. We'll cut this one. Be trying the patty pan for the first time and the parsnips. So let me go ahead and cut up this parsnip right here. Cut this top part off. Beautiful parsnip. Alright, let's cut this bad boy up. Almost like cutting a carrot. That's what it looks like. Alright, throw that in there. Alright guys, I'm going to finish cutting up the rest of this patty pan, and then I'll come back when we're ready to put all of our seasonings on it. Guys, let's prep this other butternut squash. I'm just going to take my knife, and I'm just going to cut some holes in it, put some slits in it. Perfect. Alright, now let's season up our vegetables. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get our seasonings on our butternut squash, our parsnips, and our patty pan. So I'm going to take some olive oil. And I'm just going to drizzle it on there. Make sure they're well coated. And then I'm going to take some garlic powder. Take some black pepper. Take some of these thyme. You can put any kind of seasonings you want on here. Put a little oregano. And then we're just going to toss it up so all the vegetables and stuff can get well coated. Look how pretty that looks. You want to see how pretty that is? Look at that. Beautiful. Alright. It smells good too, you guys. I'm going to put a little bit of salt, not a lot. Because I don't cook with a lot of salt. So I'm just going to put a little bit of salt on there. Just a little bit of salt. Alright, now I'm going to get my baking pan. And we are going to put this on our baking sheet. I have my baking sheet. So I'm going to put these roasted vegetables on this baking sheet. That goodness out of there, spread it on that baking sheet with the parchment paper, or you can use the wax paper. And then I'm going to get a smaller baking sheet, and we're going to put this other butternut squash over here, and I'm going to oil it down really good. And then we are going to put this in the oven at 425. And after 20 minutes, we're going to look at it and see how it does. Doesn't that look good, you guys? Look, beautiful. Okay, can't wait to try this. All right, let me get the other baking sheet so we can get the other butternut squash together. Guys, I got my smaller baking sheet. I'm going to take some of this olive oil, and I'm just going to put that olive oil over this butternut squash, and I'm just going to rub it down all over, inside. Give it a good massage, and then I'm going to cut this stem off. Can't wait. I've had butternut squash before, and I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Alright, it's all been massaged. I'm going to take that stem off. Alright, let's get this bad boy into the oven. And I always put my butternut squash face down, because then once it gets all nice and cooked, then I'll flip it over, and then that's when I'll put my brown sugar or my cinnamon sugar in the middle, and then I'll let it cook some more so all that brown sugar and all that can get all nice and caramelized. And then I'll poke it with the fork to see how tender it is, and then when that fork goes in, then it's time to eat. Alright, let's get this in the oven. Let's get it in the oven. In. Alright. Let it do what it do. Alright, I'll come back when it's about 20 minutes. Guys, I've taken them out of the oven. This is what they're looking like. They look good. Let me taste one and see if we need to put any more seasonings. Let's try this patty pan one. Needs just a little bit more seasoning. So I'm going to try some of my bell pepper seasoning. I'm going to stick that on there. Because you never can go wrong with bell pepper seasoning. Because I love bell peppers. And then I'm going to stick this back in the oven for like maybe 5 more minutes. And then I think we'll be ready to eat. Guys, it is done. So let's turn this bad boy over. You know when it's done, when you can take your fork and it goes in easily like that. Woohoo! This is my favorite. I love me some butternut. Look at that. It's so tender. It is breaking apart. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, let's try. We're going to try to do the flipperoo, you guys. Hopefully I can get it to stay together. Yes! Just tore up just a little bit. But that's okay, because your girl Just gonna put some butter on that. Put some butter on here. Ooh, it is so nice and tender. Yes. Some butter on there. I like to take the butter and then just roll it all over. Ooh, don't that look good, you guys? Ooh, yes. All nice and buttery. This is like my favorite. It's like eating a sweet potato. Just rub that all over there. Slather it in butter. And then I'm going to take some of my cinnamon sugar. I'm going to put it all over that. So I got some cinnamon sugar. Yeah. I'm going to stick it on there. And I like to let it just soak in. Get in all that butter and stuff. It's going to be so good, you guys. And let it just soak it all up in there. Alright, let me plate it up and I'll show you what my dinner's going to look like. Woohoo! Butternut squash right out of Renee's garden. Guys, so the dinner is complete. I have my thin pork chop. I have my butternut squash that I grew in my garden. I have the butternut squash. I have the parsnips, and I have the patty pan over here that I seasoned, and it looks fantastic. And then I have a nice salad that the lettuce I grew out of my garden with the tomatoes. And then I have some pepper jack cheese a little bit on there. And I have some black pepper. And I also have a little drizzle of Caesar salad dressing. Woohoo! I cannot wait to eat this dinner. Going to give you a close-up look at that butternut squash, the patty pan. There you go, the parsnips. Then that's that thin pork chop. And then my butternut squash that I grew. And it has that butter on there with that cinnamon sugar. Love it, love it, love it. Alright guys, well I'm about to chow down and eat my dinner. And I hope you enjoyed this Cooking in the Kitchen with Renee, featuring things that I grew in my garden. And I am so excited because a lot of these things on this plate I've never had before. So I'm so excited to be able to grow it and then bring it into the house and cook it up for my family to enjoy for dinner. Alright guys, have a wonderful day. Have a blessed day. And I'll Miss Renee will see you in the next edition of Cooking in the Kitchen with Renee. Take care, you guys. One more look.